We Are Wrestling.
Olympic hero Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast. We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Let's flip and go.
You're watching We Are Wrestling.
I'm the host with the most.
You are by far the least intelligent.
What is going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs. Ben here, one half of the We Are Wrestling podcast.
We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Make sure to subscribe, baby.
We Are Wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie here with...
What's going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs worldwide. Ben here, Uncle Ben, one half of the We Are Wrestling podcast. Today we got a pretty stacked episode for you guys. Before we get into all that shenanigans, Don, take it away, buddy.
Yes, we do. We have a very interesting episode because we saw a big debut happen yesterday as we're recording during Big Business. Mercedes MONE is All Elite. And we actually get to hear from Mercedes' biggest fan, Ben. And we're also going to be having Old School Phil here for the recap topic during the show. And we got a lot of awesome topics that, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't even go over it with Ben, so he doesn't even know what we have in store for this week's episode. But anything can happen on the podcast. But before we get into all the good stuff, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, over on the YouTube channel, where you can get lots of additional content, live streams, reactions, watch-alongs, all that good stuff, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications, videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know, the grind is real.
That's the sound this week, bro.
I'm so used to I'm just so used to hearing you just go, oh yeah, but instead this time you just go,
Yeah, dude.
Ben's thoughts on Mercedes.
That's basically, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh, we're going to get there.
Y'all see it.
So last week on the We Are Wrestling Podcast, episode 98, unfortunately, you weren't here with me, but we did have a great guest star, Ricky Knows Best, for his very first time on the podcast. Did you watch any of it?
I did.
What were your thoughts on Ricky's first time?
Not bad. It's honestly good seeing him in front of a mic. I think one of the biggest things that I have with Ricky is I wish he would like not hunch over. But other than that, like he did fine, you know. Not really much. I mean, the dude knows his stuff, you know, he watches everything. So I had no doubt in my mind that his feedback was going to be credible and that he wasn't going to have something very interesting to say about every take. So, you know, Ricky did great, you know. So I'm excited to see more Ricky content. I'm excited.
Definitely,
and I hope
man.
y'all are excited for some more Ricky content too, because dude is killer.
And when I say this, guys, I am not giving you any bullshit. This was last minute last week. And Ricky, for the very first time doing a full podcast, I think he did an incredible job. Obviously, there's always room for improvement. Like you, obviously, there's always room to improve, myself including, and I'm the host with the most. I'm not perfect. The only one that's perfect in the wrestling world is Mr. Perfect. But
and he wasn't perfect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But man, so how's your week been?
What day is it? Right, we're recording this on a Thursday.
And it's going to be out on a Friday.
It's going to be out on a Friday. I'd say it's been quiet this week for the most part. Like there hasn't been anything, traumatic. So I mean, I guess that's good. Nothing traumatizing has happened this week. So I think it's been an all right week. I went on a
Well, I
walk for the
did.
first time the other
I
day, and
was
it was
just gonna
fucking
say,
amazing.
there's a little rumor going around that you are on the Simon Dean system, that you were
The
starting to go
Simon
for your
Dean.
walks.
Hey, fuck out of here, man. Yeah, I
The
went on a
Simon
walk the other
system.
day. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm following the Simon system. I'm gonna be getting his shakes pretty soon. Yeah, it's gonna be fucking great. I'm gonna do push-ups before I go into the Rumble, and then I'm gonna get thrown out immediately. Yeah.
One of these weeks for the Getting Put Over segment, I am going to pick Simon Dean.
Oh, dude, I got plenty. I got plenty to say about Simon Dean, so that's gonna be a fun week.
Oh, it's
A
gonna be
hundred
great.
percent though, I would say that yeah, the walk has been one of the highlights of like my entire week, if like out of the wrestling world. Because I almost felt like I was like kind of like reconnecting with real life for a second because I'm always so
Yeah.
secluded all the time. So to get out and just go for a walk and like not like do anything, not have like a plan, not put my body on the line, partying with my friends. It's just a walk, just a nice walk on what was a very beautiful day. I didn't realize that a place as gorgeous as that I went for the walk exists so close to my house. Like it's at the reservoir, fucking 5 minutes away from me. So
Mhm.
I mean, like being able to go there very quickly is nice. Um, yeah, so I felt like I was just kind of like reconnecting with the outside in a weird way. So it was just a very good day. So I guess yeah, it's been a pretty decent week.
I
And
love that for you, man. And that's something I love to do, like, because obviously, as content creators, we're always in front of a screen for so long. We're always feeling very isolated, like in a box. And that's one
yep,
thing I always really love to enjoy is playing basketball with the boys or, going out for a nice walk. And now that the weather's getting a little bit nicer, a little bit more clear in the New England area, it is
it's gonna
great
be
to go for a
beautiful.
walk. And I'm glad that now you're on the Simon system because I'm going to have to get myself on the Simon system.
Yeah, dude. In the last like
Oh,
year, bro, I
man.
realized I've put on some weight. I've kind of like stopped picking up the weights. And I'm feeling like the actual like repercussions of it now. And
Mhm.
I just kind of want to. I feel like that's also put me in like my mental decline. So I'm trying to reverse it and get into a mental incline. So I feel like just stepping outside and getting some fresh air is a very good start. So
I feel like it's
you know.
something that everybody's got to do. But, man, what a week it has been for me.
Another
And,
highlight of my week, by the way, is also noticing that FTR shirt. The FTR shirt fire.
oh, dude, I actually got this in a pro wrestling tees crate. You can check that
Hell
video
yeah.
out over on Best One Donnie, which one of my highlight of the weeks outside of the wrestling world. 1,000 subscribers,
Hell yeah,
just hit
bro.
it earlier this morning for my toy channel. And man, this
Hell
week
yeah,
has
bro.
been incredibly busy. I have been just on the go, go, go. And I feel like I'm going to be on the go, go, go all the way until WrestleMania night 1 and 2.
So
That's how booked up I am right now.
so how do you feel knowing that you have two channels that are over 1,000?
Getting better at my job because over on Donald's the Best One, I'm only at like 595.
That's still
And
fucking
I was on that
impressive for a
channel for
third
like,
channel.
I was over on that channel for like 13 years.
Well, you
So
also gotta
I think I'm
also
getting better at my
remember
job.
that, and you also gotta remember the target audience you're going for is very drastically different from,
Oh,
like
huge
the
difference.
DITB one shed, that was more like skits, acting stuff, shit like that. That's more personal shit. But now you talk about the wrestling scope of things, and then your passion, which is toy hunt and collections and nostalgia. That is something that is huge, and it's weirdly resurged. I feel like in us 90s kids that have gotten a lot older, I feel like that like nostalgia has resurged. So that's a very huge thing right now too. And you kind of capitalized on it at the best moment. And luckily you're passionate about it because if anybody told you that you weren't, they're fucking lying. I mean, just look at behind you. Like, yeah, it's wrestling
Oh,
related, but it's a
man.
passion. It's still toys.
And my story too, which you can go check out on the Best One Dottie channel about my whole collecting stuff. But speaking of a
Precisely.
figure too that I'm going to be unboxing pretty soon, unfortunately, I got to unbox this thing right here, this Roman Reigns
Hey,
Ultimate
that's a nice
Edition.
one.
Oh, very nice figure, but you already know we need Cody to finish the story. But but man, it's been really stressful too because speaking of toy collecting, there's these new WrestleMania 40 displays at Walmart, and everybody is finding them. except for me. Until this morning, I found it and I was able to actually get the figures I needed. So these toy hunts, man, when there's like Walmart exclusives, Target exclusives,
It's
it is
huge.
stressful because when you're doing the toy videos and stuff, the reviews, you need to get the stuff before everybody else. And I'm already late to the party.
Yeah, you're good, man. As long as you
But
can
it's
like
so
find a
cool to
way to
find a
make it
display, though.
make the video crafty, like go deep, dig deep into your editing skills for that one to make it just stand out. If you're late to the party, you got to compensate in another way. You got to make it dope.
Absolutely. That is right
Get your
there. That is Creator 101, and we're giving you this educational lesson for free.
You got to get that lighting right. You got to get your little swivel going. You got to get it in the middle of the fucking ring. You got to get everything, the angles right. You got to get
You gotta get the
multiple angles.
rotating plate cleaned off.
You got to spray some fucking mist in the shot. You got to get the fucking light glare on the camera right. You got to get those fucking editing angles.
See, that's the problem. I don't got time for all that because here's my schedule coming up. So the reason why this episode of the podcast is out on Friday and not Saturday is because tomorrow I am going to be at the big event, New York and Long Island. I am very excited for this event. I will be vlogging. If you do see me at the event, come say what's up. Don't hesitate. I will be vlogging, and I'm going to be meeting a lot of great wrestlers I'm very excited about. And next, okay, who am I meeting? So the big headliner for this event is Stacy Cabler. She's making a rare appearance. She doesn't do Comic-Cons. She doesn't do wrestling conventions. So I'm going to be getting the opportunity to meet her, Tori Wilson, Big Show, Lucha Brothers, Nydia.
Huge.
Nydia's going to be there. Chuck Palumbo, Max Caster. I'm going to be meeting him again because he just got his figures out. Let's see who else is going to be here. MJF, unfortunately, won't be here because he got pulled. He will be at the November one, though, so I'm excited about that coming up. But also, Jushin Thunder Liger, New Japan Pro Wrestling legend. Yep. I'm excited about that. Kevin Von Erich. And there's just a lot of great wrestlers I'm going to be getting the opportunity to meet at this event. And next weekend, we have Blitzkrieg Pro on Friday. It's going to be a stacked show. We are sponsoring the Bedlam Championship match. We're going to be at the house in Tower Square for that event. But then the next day, the next day, we have the Wrestling Classic 4, which will be on Saturday, March 23rd. And we're going to be having a table. We are a vendor over there. And not only are we going to be selling We Are Wrestling Attitude shirts, and I'm excited to make this announcement with you, Ben. He doesn't even have one yet, but he will. We have limited edition We Are Wrestling trucker snapbacks, baby.
Yeah,
these are limited edition, and these are right now running low. Everybody's hitting me up for these hats. So, guys, we will be having them $20 at our table. So, if you're interested, come check it out. I'm also going to be having a lot of wrestling figures for sale as well. And there's going to be a lot of legends at this event. So, man, we got a stacked couple weeks ahead of us because after this episode, We Are Wrestling Podcast 100. Everything is just coming at us right now. RKO's everywhere.
Yeah.
And then we got a WrestleMania 40 watch along coming up pretty soon too. But with that, the grind is real, baby. But now let's get into the highlight of the week in the wrestling world. So Ben, what's got to be your highlight this week?
There's been so much going on. Especially because we're like very balls deep in Mania season right now. Like we're literally like a couple weeks away. My highlight of the week. Probably anything that has to do with Cody, Seth, and Roman and Rock. So probably like their following segment that just happened. Yeah, that'll probably be like my highlight because I'm following that. bitch slapped him finally. Somebody had to do it. But the thing that's really killing me, regardless if it's my highlight of the week, because I just love seeing like all this talent in one fucking ring, because every single one of those people has been a world champion in that ring except for Cody, and that's changing at WrestleMania. So I'm like, I'm taking it in. But the one thing that bothered me about all of it was it felt like The Rock was rusty. Like, mic wise, it sounded like he was rusty. Like he went around in circles a couple times. I'm like, why? Like,
Seth
why?
Rollins, dude, he was
His meltdown,
cooking him
yeah.
on the microphone. I loved it. I totally marked out.
If you look at it, Seth Rollins already has a way more decorative career than The Rock ever did, technically, if you think about it in wrestling.
Yeah, The Rock, a lot of people, I feel like, forget that. The Rock's run was actually not that long.
It was like 4
because
years,
it started in 1996, and then he became a part-timer around 2003, 2004.
He left entirely in 2003.
Nope, it was 2004 after WrestleMania 20. He had like a handicap match with Mick Foley versus Evolution.
Oh, yeah, Rock and Sock, right?
Yep, Rock and Sock reconnected for that one time, and then after that, we didn't see The Rock for a while until they inducted his dad into the Hall of Fame, and then after that, disappeared. Him and John Cena had their feud, and then, the rest is history. But, man, Rollins, besides Rollins cooking The Rock on that microphone on Friday last week, my highlight of the week, besides Mercedes Monday, that's the first recap we're going to get into with Phil, I got to go with Will Ospreay, man, because obviously we know who he is. We've watched highlights of him. I'm sure you have. I know I have.
Yeah.
But I've never watched New Japan Pro Wrestling consistently. And I got to say, this Wednesday on Big Business, the promo Will Ospreay cut really impressed me, because I thought Will Ospreay was only that guy that can give you 10-star classics. But man, this transition from New Japan to AEW, I think it shocked everybody in the IWC, because I'm not going to lie, when he first showed up in AEW, I was nervous. I thought that, this is going to be a typical big signing for AEW. He's going to have momentum for a few weeks, and then he's just going to lose it. But I feel like Will Ospreay right now is the most over guy in AEW. The crowd is reacting perfectly to his music. The promo he's cutting is just from the heart, and you can't teach it. You can't teach that.
That's awesome, man. I'd love to see it.
Dude, I am so happy about Will Ospreay, and even Okada, dude. Okada being with now Matthew and Nicholas Jackson with these new EVP characters. Absolutely love it. So
I've been watching a couple segments with Matt and Nick, and honestly, it is kind of funny. Their character work is kind of funny. I like it is kind of compelling to watch. As the whole EVP shit.
They do the best.
Fuck.
I feel like they do the best work when they're acting like sissies, and that's what they're doing with these characters, and it's fucking hilarious. And
honestly, I'm kind of
dude, one of the segments for on Dynamite that happened, and I don't know if you saw this because I don't think they uploaded the clip, but so the EVPs every week they record them arriving. It doesn't matter what they're doing.
Yeah.
So they come down this escalator with Okada, and I guess it's Matthew's birthday. So the announcer didn't even talk about it. So then Okada goes, say happy birthday. Right? So the guy says happy birthday, and then he says, sing it.
Sing it.
So the interviewer guy, he sang happy birthday to Matthew Jackson. I was so impressed with Okada, though. I think Okada being with the Elite
and being
was
a heel,
great fucking move, because I think having the mouthpieces with the Young Bucks and then letting him take Omega's spot, that's going to create a rivalry right there, because I think when Omega comes back, I feel like All In, we're going to get Omega versus Okada. And that's going to be a good one.
I believe that, but man, before we get into the other stuff, I just kind of want to make mention and address the elephant in the room that everybody's not talking about, and kind of put out there that Kenny Omega definitely does not have much more time in the ring. He does not have much more time. He's getting injury after injury. And he even said if anything happens to his back again, he's done. So he might have to hang it up soon. like within the next year or
Yeah,
two, because
it's
he's gotten a
probably
lot of issues now.
yeah. When he comes back, I don't see it being a full time, probably because
I think
his body is starting to wear down.
dude needs to hang it up at some point soon. You know, the dude's done a lot. It's unfortunate he's never gone to WWE, you know, but he doesn't really need to with everything he's accomplished and for what he's done, you know, in Japan alone. But I just wanted to kind of give him a shout out because I know that window's closing because
Yeah, and
there's
it's
it's
unfortunate.
happening so much. So I hope that eventually he can hang it up and focus on his other passions, whether it's anime, video games, you know, fucking whatever he decides to do. I am excited for Kenny Omega. So I wanted to address that elephant in the room that nobody's talking about. So
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about that, and I think that definitely is a great discussion for the IWC because this isn't the first time Kenny Omega's gotten injured. I believe this is like his fourth injury within 4 or 5 years so far, and that's very concerning because these injuries, it's not like an ankle sprain. These
I'm
are
calling this
like
right
serious
now.
injuries that are requiring surgery, and man, his body is just wearing down right now. So hopefully they can kind of give him a lighter schedule. I think that could definitely help him like for the
Yeah,
next couple of years before he hangs
for
up the
sure.
boots.
But you also have to, you know, take into consideration what someone's personal validation is for how they can perform for themselves to make themselves
And
satisfied.
I
If
know
they can't
Omega, he's a
feel that,
perfectionist.
exactly. So I'm gonna say this right now. Next week, do your homework on New Japan stuff because we're gonna put over Kenny Omega.
Ooh, for 100, we're going to put over Omega? I
Yeah,
really
so do
like
some
that
homework.
decision.
Yeah,
I
so do
like
some
that
homework.
decision.
I'll
All
do some
right.
AEW homework. You do some New Japan homework.
All right. So we might even need to get Ricky on that segment right there for 100.
Yeah, I'm down.
So, with that being said, let's get into the We Are Wrestling Weekly recap for the We Are Wrestling Podcast episode 99. So, before we get into our first We Are Wrestling Weekly recap, we have a special guest for this in particular recap. We got old school Phil in the house. Say what's up to the We Are Wrestling Maniacs.
What's going on, Maniacs? Fresh back from Boston. Peeping AEW big business, man.
So I gotta ask you, Phil, how was the AEW show last night in Boston?
Well, we'll start with this. Anyone who watches old school, new school, they know my state of AEW and how I feel about them. And I think Ben would agree with me that like it's a clusterfuck of a guy playing with action figures who doesn't know what to do with them. And I last night ate a little bit of humble pie. It seems like
Nice.
they're deciding to listen and maybe concentrate on the storyline aspect. Listen to the opinions of the people out there who are like, things are moving a little too hectic, too many tournaments, too many belts. Let's get some story. Let's get some new players. Let's go back to the AEW that first started, the Daily's Place AEW. And what better way to do that than when people like Will Ospreay, Okada, and now Mercedes Moné returning in Boston. And I know how much you love her, Ben.
Oh, we know Ben is very excited about this. So, with that being said,
I heard. So
let
Ben, what I'm here for, I'll give you my opinion of the show in a minute. I've been dying to find out, like, someone whose opinion I literally give a shit about. What about Mercedes Moné do you not like?
Everything.
Everything, I'm not going to let you
everything.
listen. You know me better than that. You know me better than that. I will call you out on every fucking part. What parts? Don't give me a basic bitch answer. You're on a podcast.
Before Uncle Ben, you do give your thoughts on Mercedes Moné. Our first recap this past Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, big business. Mercedes Moné made her AEW debut, and I got to ask you, Ben, did you watch the segment at all? Yes or no?
I did. I watched the entire segment front to back,
That's a
and
good
then also
journalist
her.
right
All
there.
right, so before you answer what Phil is asking you, I want to know your thoughts on the segment with her debuting in AEW.
I mean, it felt big. It felt large. Like it felt pay-per-view large. You know, I'll stand by that. The place was on fire. You know, like it was huge, monstrous pop. You know,
It felt
but with
big.
that,
It was a big
it
pop.
felt big. Yeah, it felt big. It felt like, you know, it was meaningful. It definitely did do things for the show. It definitely did things for AEW for sure. It's going to be great for the women's division because my opinion doesn't mean shit in the ocean of supporters, man. It really doesn't. It's just another opinion.
I want to hear
You know.
what it is, though. That's what gets me. It has me curious because see, I can separate my disdain for a person and appreciate a worker. And Sasha
for sure.
Mercedes Moné, whatever you want to fucking call her, is one of the best female workers in the fucking business, dude.
You see, that's like always been one thing that I've never understood because obviously, like, I know you're not the biggest fan of her because of a lot of the politicking that happened, especially towards her exit in WWE. And I just want to know, like, what I really want to know, besides everything that you hate about her, I want to know what it is that you're not a fan of.
All right, so I respect, Mercedes Moné, formerly Sasha Banks. Like, I respect all the accolades. I respect, showing up to work, doing what you got to do for the company you work for. But with every nice thing that I said before, everything, I hate when people try to overvalue themselves from what they can actually sell. And that, for me, Sasha or Mercedes, that's what kills me, is because I can't believe any of her promos. It just doesn't touch my heartstrings like it touches everybody else. It doesn't emotionally move me. It doesn't make me believe her. It just doesn't. She doesn't have that for me, and for me, it's blatant. A lot of people are into it. I'm just not. I've told Don many times. I think out of the 4 horsewomen, she's the weakest for me. Just because the promos mean everything to me. To be able to sell your character, I don't care what you can do in the ring. I mean, obviously I care. But if you can sell me the story to really get behind you as a character, because character work is fucking missing nowadays, dude. It's missing.
Hey, fucking men, dude. That's my favorite part.
I agree.
That's what made it feel like it was superhero in real life, man. So it's also one of those things where I can't stand her face. I don't know what.
No, dude. I get it. There's wrestlers that everyone's like that with. But I mean, you respect the body of work, obviously. Then,
yeah,
100%. What she brings to the division, and that's cool. No arguments on that part, dude. So I'm not gonna give you shit. That's a very valid, very good fucking answer, dude. She just doesn't hit you promo wise, and I get that. Like me, I'm the same way with Natty Neidhart. I fucking
precisely
hate Natty Neidhart. I can't stand her. Her body of work, fantastic. First ballot Hall of Famer.
In ring,
I don't
phenomenal.
understand any hype. I hate her face, and I can't stand her. I really can't.
Thank you.
So that's what it is for you and Sasha. But last night, I'll say this before I get to last night. One more thing that you touched on was the promos and not feeling it and not understanding the character. Now, and then the personal shit of like how she overvalued herself, bro. When you want to get a job, that's fucking confidence, and confidence is fucking
for sure.
That's one thing I always preach.
Sells. And one thing, dude,
and that's
being in the 4 horsewomen. Let me finish my thought, bro. She revolutionized this sport with those 4 women. You can put a price tag on that. And when you're given a tag title and then told to sit with it, bro, fuck you. That's a slap in the face. In a company that was shifting between 3 different fucking people while trying to cover up scandals, sell it to TKO, and move things forward. They were forgetting the people that got there.
And you have to understand, too, with the tag team championships, the reason why she was upset was she wanted to elevate the women's tag team division, but instead they wanted to put over Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey.
It's a misunderstanding if these people misunderstand it. And it's easy to misunderstand someone whose character is a boss kind of bitch. It's easy to hate on that.
Exactly. And wait, can I just say something before Ben, you give your thoughts real quick?
I gotta continue before I forget it.
All right. After you say what you gotta say, I do want to share this.
Yeah. When it comes to all this, what you're feeding me with the whole confidence is sexy, X, Y, and Z, if the undervaluing of a title, that's true. But I have to stick to the words of one of my favorite childhood heroes. John Cena has never seen anything as a fucking demotion and ran with whatever was given to him and never turned his back.
Okay, cool, ready.
Okay, but here's what I want to say, because John Cena, we all know my big fandom for John Cena.
She looked up
my
to John.
childhood hero.
That's not a John move.
And Eddie Guerrero. No, I get it. Guerrero was a hero too, dude.
When Phil is talking about the confidence, Here's what I do want to share.
When she was given a shit situation, yes, everyone gets buried for a while and makes a comeback. Look at Bayley. She is fucking up and down like a roller coaster all the time.
Agree with
Finally
that.
getting a WrestleMania moment. And guess what?
Preach.
In my opinion, what sucks is this should have been years ago, dude. It should have been years ago she got this. Because it doesn't really matter right now because Rhea is going to overshadow it and fucking Becky will probably overshadow it too still. So it's secondary and it feels secondary. She wasn't even on the fucking poster, wasn't on the press conference. So, dude, she took that and ran. But Bayley was there last night supporting her best friend, by the way, like right up in there. That was
I
dope.
love
Yeah,
that.
I saw you guys saw that. Friggin', it was. I don't know, man. I think honestly that like what happened was fucked up and how they did the politicking sucks, but I understand being in a place where you know your value and you want to do more and you want to do the best and what's best for the company, and then not having a person understand that.
Yeah, because here's what I do want to say now about like confidence and stuff. I feel like in this business, whoever you love has an ego, has confidence.
Yeah.
Because in this business, unfortunately, you have to politic your way to the top. And you just
Absolutely,
mentioned
dude.
John Cena, my childhood hero. Absolutely love his work. Still to this day, one of my favorites of all time. But years later, a lot of people have come out who worked with John Cena during the PG era and have said how much politicking he did at the time.
Absolutely.
The reason why
dude.
Wade Barrett never won the WWE Championship. And there's other talented guys that got buried because of that. And in this business, I feel like, unfortunately, you have to have that confidence. You have to have that ego because of the whole WWE, the whole brass ring thing that you hear. Like, that's why I feel like Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, is just so misunderstood. Because I think all four horsewomen, they all have that ego because they got that tag on them.
And now here's this, before I forget it and before I peace out. She reminds me a lot of someone else who has a big mouth, who sticks up for themselves, and later on people realize, oh shit, they were a little bit right. Two people, ready? Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. I'm out.
That's a valid comparison. And I do want to share
the one thing that would have turned my whole thing around and would have made me respect it a little bit more is it had it not happened in Boston. That's the only thing is like, would that pop been bigger had it not been in Boston? So
it would have been.
Well, we're gonna have to see what happens next week on Dynamite.
We'll see next week, but I'm telling you, being there, it had that big moment feel. Like the people I went with were all like, "What do you think it's gonna happen? You think it's gonna be first?" I'm like, "There's no way they're not starting the show with it. They have to start the show with it. It's
I had
gonna
a
be
feeling
there.
too.
It's gonna boom. We're gonna get the music, and I mean, dude, the updated music's great. Like the crowd chanting CEO, dude, it's a spectacle. Like her entrance is a spectacle live, and that in and of itself will elevate AEW because it gives them an entrance that's WWE worthy, and that's something that AEW never did really that well, was make me get excited just to see someone walk out. Other than singing Judas with Chris Jericho, there haven't been many AEW memorable entrances that happen week in and week out. Britt Baker with the DMD, she had people popping with that because people love repetition. But being a person who stands in a ring and watches chants, watches these people come out, dude, when you see an entire arena chanting three letters CEO, going nuts, dancing with it, man, that's moments. That's when you have those real life superhero moments. That's when wrestling works its best. And this is a company that wasn't doing that. And now Will Ospreay, Okada, Banks, all last night, those entrances. Look at that.
Amazing.
People are excited again.
And before you do go, Phil, I do also want to mention this because there were some reports that came out. According to Fightful, late last year, WWE sources confirmed in official capacity that WWE and MONE had conversations. As of late December, those were no longer ongoing, and the two sides couldn't come to terms. But here's the updated news about that, because obviously we did cover that months ago, and there was a whole ego thing, but Fightful has come out and said that WWE sources called the conversations with MONE friendly and wished her luck. And that's the big problem that I have with a lot of these journalists, because I feel like certain people like CM Punk and Mercedes, they get so misunderstood by the media because they twist their freaking words around and then they come off as the villains. And this is exactly what happened with Mercedes, because I remember back in late December, they were saying, oh, Mercedes was being rude to WWE, like saying, I need Charlotte money, this and that. But now the reports have come out that that's all false.
So listen to me before I roll, because I do gonna roll. But I will say,
Yep.
I could talk about this part for an hour, dude. Trust me. This is where people separate the terms wrestling and business and forget that it's the wrestling business.
Yeah.
Agree.
There's a business aspect to everything. And unfortunately, when you get that water cooler talk like this, bro, it's just like gossip in the workplace, except that this workplace is watched weekly by everyone. So when you have someone talking at the cooler and they're putting it online, all of a sudden, Sari's fucking Bob's boss, who likes to wear a leather strap on and get pegged. But our version is Sasha Banks wants Charlotte money, dude. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Hey, fuck it.
But final thoughts on Mercedes Moné to AEW.
It's the way they dropped the ball with Edge, dude, and made Edge irrelevant made me really think, like, I don't think they could handle someone in WWE again, like a big star. But the way they're treating Ospreay, the way they're treating Okada right now, which weren't WWE guys, which is different. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm
a
saying.
different type of treatment. But the way they're treating Mercedes so far, I just hope she's not feuding with fucking goddamn Willow Nightingale or something like that, or Ruby,
Man.
for meaning nothing on Rampage.
They dropped the ball with CM Punk, so I mean, at the same time, I'm not gonna expect anything different.
Do I want change? Absolutely, because I
Same.
hope nothing but the best for this business, because it's the business that I love. Am I expecting it? No, I'm not, but I'm hopeful, and that's better than nothing.
I give you that, Phil. And I think that's the best way to end this recap. Thank you, Phil, for being a part of this Mercedes Moné segment. I got to ask, bro, before you go real quick.
Yeah.
How was it meeting John Cena's dad?
Oh, dude, I met him a bunch of times. He's good shit.
I know. I met him, too, at a couple live events.
Dude, the man doesn't age. Like, I get pictures of me from with him like 13 years ago, and he looks the fucking same. Like, I don't know what the
toupee's on fire.
It's got to be that Illuminati money that his fucking kid's getting, dude.
Yeah, he's got fucking
definitely.
he's got nice fucking toupee. So
Absolutely, dude.
nice toupee.
All right, you guys have a good rest of your
All righty. You as
Take it
well,
easy, bro.
Phil. Take it easy,
Later,
man.
guys.
We're back, and got to thank Phil for guest starring. He really wanted to talk about the Mercedes Moné thing. And Ben, I got to say, man, only if I took Phil's way of, I don't even know how to say it. I think Phil definitely gave me a whole new perspective. Like, you gave me a whole new perspective on Mercedes Moné. Because I feel like every time I used to bring her up here on the podcast 99 episodes ago, you would always just say, she sucks, she's ass, this and that. But you actually gave some valid reasons, so I definitely gotta give you respect for that. 100%.
Yeah, it's not just like I'm just gonna say, oh no, she sucks, and not say anything as to why. Like, it's more on a personal level. Like I said, my opinion doesn't mean shit in the ocean of millions of people that really do believe she's fucking whatever the fuck they see her to be. And if that's the case, cool. You know, I'm not devaluing that at all, but I'm just expressing why I don't think that. You know, it's just there's certain things that I feel like you need to connect to become an ultimate superstar that really becomes a straight up household name, and I feel like she's just lacking a couple of those things. And I just, you know, there's just some things that you just disdain, you know, and it is what it is. Everybody has an opinion.
Well, we can finally lay it to rest. I think
Finally
you got your point across. I've been trying to get my point across for 99 episodes. Finally did it. But
Ray's about to hit 100.
yes, but honestly, we finally can lay that to rest. So now let's get into our next weekly recap. This past Monday on Raw, Jey Uso, main event Uso, challenged Jimmy to a match at WrestleMania 40. What's your thoughts so far on the build-up for their upcoming match?
I mean, we've kind of like saw this coming since day one, no pun intended. We saw this coming. We've been talking about this for like well over like maybe a year and a half, like since like the beginning of the Bloodline story. I think we've kind of like hinted like they're gonna have a match someday. Like they're gonna turn on each other someday, because we've yet to get that.
You know, I
And
feel
it
like
just
you were
kind
the first person to say that was gonna happen.
Yeah, I think so too. But I was just like, just because it was like one of those things, like, you know, They've never gone at it before. I'm like, we've always had, you know, like the Rockers have gone against each other. You know, fucking Cody and Cody and Goldust have gone at it. You know, like you've had brothers and teams go at it before, but not the
Owen and Brett.
Usos. Owen and Brett, like, you know, not the fucking Usos. So I'm just like, you know, it's kind of sus. We haven't had this, and it's like, oh, family this, family that. I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna have an eruption eventually one of these days, and we knew that Jay, of all people, was gonna be the one to turn. Like we've had that shit nailed down since day one. But my biggest thing is where I'm stoked because we knew, you know, it's nice to finally see it unfold and to like actually be a thing. Especially at a big fucking Mania like this, man. XL 40. I mean, it just makes sense. You know, it just makes fucking sense. It is a huge Mania, and I feel like this Mania, we're entering a whole new era of WWE after this Mania. It's not going to be the same again. We're entering a whole new history now. Like we're resetting the clocks, you know, so to speak. It's just going to be a whole new era, you know. I think the build up for it has been good. You know, I think it's nothing that either of them can't sell. I think it's going to be very poetic, you know, 100%. But what really bothers me is the overall build has been short, man. I feel like we should have had more time to fucking cook.
Exactly. Like the Royal Rumble, they had the perfect opportunity with 1 and 2, and I feel like they really did nothing in that match.
That, and it's like, it doesn't even really mean just like all the times that Jay has costed Jimmy. I mean, I get the technically, if you really think about it,
Jimmy cost Jay. Jay never cost Jimmy.
Sorry, Jimmy cost Jay, but like technically, if you think about it, their whole bloodline story was technically the buildup, but not really. Like I feel like they should have focused more on the tension before everything. Like we should have had tension before the first title interference. Like slight bits and pieces of it where like you kind of notice it, but you shrug it off. Build it more and more, but we didn't even get that. So I'm just like, it's been great because it's like, you know, it's Jay and Jimmy. They're gonna fucking kill it. They'll knock it out of the park. I have no problem. I have no problem believing that. It's just I wish we would have gotten a few more weeks to build it, you know, just to be like, you know, not 2 to 3, give it maybe like month and a half. Like, that's a good buildup, especially for something that could be that interpersonal. You could have had Rikishi come out. You could have had a little bit more involvement with the bloodline.
Yeah, like they could have done little segments like that.
Precisely.
They could have definitely done something like that. Like I totally have to agree with you on that because you could have had like Grayson Waller Effect show. You could have had like KO show or something. And you could have done a segment where you could have had Rikishi involved there trying to keep them together because we all know through podcasts the last couple of years, Rikishi, he's been wanting Jay versus Jimmy at WrestleMania for the longest time. And we're finally getting there. I feel like there's just little things that they could have done because it was like Jimmy cost Jay, Jay quit. Jay goes to Raw, him and Cody win the tag titles. Then Jimmy costs Jay again, but then Jay doesn't do anything about it, doesn't address it. Then we go into the Rumble. They're face-to-face for like 2 minutes, and then after that, I don't even think either one of them threw each other out. So, like, I don't know, there's just missing pieces within this storyline that's, like, throwing me off a little bit. But overall,
I think
it's going to get better through time.
Exactly. The only Band-Aid that I'll accept is making Rikishi the guest referee. That is the only Band-Aid I'll accept. He's like, all right, at least now we got the final piece. Do it the Friday or Monday before do it the Friday before Mania. Have them lock it the fuck down. Have Rikishi be the unbiased opinion, even though we all know that Rikishi definitely favors Jay way more.
I will say one thing that they could have, the last thing I'm going to say about this, one thing that they should have done, Jimmy has been by Roman's side with The Rock this entire time. Why didn't they capitalize last Friday on SmackDown, having Jay sneak up and attack Jimmy?
Precisely.
They could have done something there, but we still have a couple more weeks until Mania, so we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But I definitely think that the build-up so far, it's good, but it could be better, I think.
Yeah, precisely.
But moving on now to something that this is the most randomest thing that ever happened. I didn't even get a reaction out of this. This past Monday, during a women's tag team match, Candice LeRae turned heel and made some comments to Maxine Dupree saying, and I quote, "You know why everyone boos you. You don't belong here. You think the internet hates you? You should hear what the girls in the locker room say. It's a good thing that your dead brother isn't here to see what an embarrassment you've become." What's your thoughts on this really, really random angle that happened on Raw?
I saw the footage. I mean, I thought Candice LeRae I think the gimmick's weird. Like I think it's weird. Like especially being a face at first, I thought it was weird. It makes sense more now, but I never see fairies as something that's like like I could get behind that.
Tinkerbell.
So yeah. Like if you gave me like poison moth or something, like all right, yeah, I can get behind that, 100% or some shit. But fairy, no. But I hate when real life shit gets intertwined with wrestling sometimes because it's like there's really no need for that. It's like you're already trashing her when she was already getting booed, getting told she sucks at live events. You don't need to bring that and kick a horse while it's down.
I really like she was trying to get some heat, but like what makes sense of her being a horrible wrestler and her brother? Like, where does that like make sense?
I hope it wasn't ad-libbed, because if it was, holy fuck. Like if it was,
they're really trying to get her some heat, but like I don't know, like I feel like you like the part that doesn't make sense to me is you're bringing up her dead brother, which obviously my thoughts and prayers, do go out to Maxine.
No, for sure.
But like,
what does that have to do with anything?
You're starting this new storyline. So like, why would you right away bring up her dead brother?
Especially in the middle of a ring where
like with Christian Cage, like that's his whole gimmick in AEW, which is why I think there's nothing wrong with what Christian's doing.
Christian Cage is my dad, bro. Chill.
But like when it comes to Candice LeRae, like the Tooth Fairy, like where does this make sense?
All I think about is all I think about is the Rock and the tutu. That's all.
Now, I will say this though about Maxine Dupree. I like that they're turning this viral video that we got last week into a storyline. I think that this is great, and I think the fans, they're going to get more and more behind her as somebody who's learning every week. I actually really do like that part, but come on, you could have done more turning Candice into a heel. Like, I think that was like the worst executed way to make somebody a heel. You don't belong here. The internet hates you. The girls in the locker room, you should hear what they have to say. Oh, and your dead brother was here. Oh, what an embarrassment you become. Like, there's like
in the middle of the ring where nobody can hear you too. Like what?
Exactly. Nobody could hear her. Even like it reminded me of Ricky without a microphone.
Ricky without a microphone. I love how you praise this man and burn this man in the same episode.
Because I had somebody comment on my Raw reaction saying, "Are you going to react to Candice and Maxine?" And I had to tell them, I can't. I was just, because when I watch the show, I generally watch it. And if I see something that's worth reacting, I go to click it. But like, I go to click the record button. But I didn't know what the hell Candice was going to say. It was so random. So pointless.
Like, I never think, oh, hold up. Let me get ready for the moment that someone just stops the match to say some shit to someone. Like, what?
No, for real. Especially like Candice, like a heel turn, like that way.
What about Indy Hartwell? What does Indy Hartwell think?
She just sat there. She just sat there.
So dude, like, she heel too now?
Well, I know Brock Lesnar, they just put his profile back on WWE.com. I don't know if they brought Vince McMahon back in for this one, but this is not, like, I don't know if, there's no way Triple H wrote that. There's no way.
Hell no.
Can't be. It had to be Bruce Pritchard or somebody, but moving on now to our last We Are Wrestling weekly recap this week.
It was the Poison Fairy.
the Poison Fairy. This past Monday on Raw, it was also announced that the Undisputed Tag Team Championships will be defended in a 6-man ladder match at WrestleMania 40. The titles are
dope.
not splitting up. What's your thoughts
That's
on
stupid.
this?
It would have been dope if the titles were split up. Should have had a night 1 Raw fucking tournament ladder match and night 2 SmackDown ladder match. Should have done it that way and split it.
I really thought that we were going to get the title split when they teased the whole thing with Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. But instead, we're getting this ladder match. Woohoo! Yay. Like, don't get me wrong, it's going to be a great match. It's going to be a fun one, but I really don't know if they're listening to us because I think every single fan at this point, I really can't think of one person that can give any of us a valid reason why we need to keep these titles together. It's like beating a dead horse at this point.
Yep.
And I'm just over these undisputed titles. Like, we've had this stupid Spartan logo for what, like 15 years now? We got these titles in 2010. Absolutely wild. I am just over this whole freaking tag team championship thing. I feel like having the titles, just one championship, is really holding back their tag division, and Raw needs tag titles, SmackDown needs tag titles. Like, look at Gunter's incredible run. Imagine Giovanni Vinci and Kaiser got the Raw tag titles. Imperium would be even more powerful than they are. But instead, Kaiser and Vinci, they're being treated like jokes because they don't have any gold and they lose all the time. I'm just over the whole tag thing. I know me and you, we keep talking about it, and
it's not happening. Apparently, somebody in the higher ups loves the joint titles.
Yep, and I think regardless of me and you bitching and complaining, especially me, because I think I just don't shut the fuck up about it.
No,
waste
dude,
time here.
I want the title split so bad. And like I said, man, like I feel like it should have been a night 1 and night 2 situation with WrestleMania. It's the perfect fucking time to do it. Or even if it was like a ladder match for one fucking one set of titles and just a regular match, or maybe like a different kind of stipulation for the next title match on night 2. Like no disqualification or something. Like do something creative, man. But it's time to split them up because like you said, if Imperium had the titles, they'd be so much more prestigious, and there is a plethora of many tag teams that are not really getting any kind of opportunities, and it makes no sense to keep them together.
Exactly,
at this point,
because
when they're revamping everything.
When you're having these tag matches on SmackDown and Raw, what are they fighting for?
What?
Absolutely
What beef now?
bullshit.
Exactly.
But up next, we have the comment of the week, and of course, the We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors. We'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling podcast episode 99.
Hey, what's up, players? WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and you are listening to the We Are Wrestling podcast. And if you don't listen to it, then it's one-on-one with The Undertaker.
Saturday, March 23rd, both Captain's Corner and Zombie Hideout are putting together the Wrestling Classic 4 in Springfield, Mass. You can get the opportunity to meet WWE Hall of Famer Eric Bischoff, Elias, Matt Riddle, the franchise Shane Douglas, the Sandman, Diva Search winner Christy Hemme, Hornswoggle, and so many more wrestlers. We Are Wrestling will be in the house as a vendor at this event, selling t-shirts, meeting our fans, vlogging, and having a good time on Saturday, March 23rd at the South End Community Center in Springfield, Mass. We hope to see you there at the Wrestling Classic 4. We're back, and before we get into our We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors, we do want to let you guys know that the We Are Wrestling podcast episode 100 will not be coming out next Saturday. Instead, it will be coming out next Sunday on the 24th of March, because obviously the 23rd, we're going to be at the Wrestling Classic 4, and we're also going to be getting some content there, exclusive content for 100, because, man, for the 100th episode, we do have some big plans, and we got some surprises. But every week, we do this thing called the comment of the week. And last time, I let Ben take over this segment, and we're going to let him take it over again. So, Ben, what do you got?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Comment of the Week. And this week, we got a comment from a subscriber right here on the We Are Wrestling channel. And this is from the video of your reaction to Adam Pearce and the fuck is his name?
Nick Aldis?
Nick Aldis, Jesus Christ.
How dare you disrespect the better general manager?
Yeah, Nick Aldis. Yeah, exactly. He is technically the better general manager. But either way, we have this comment from Ahmed Yusuf 3340. And the comment is, I know I'm in the minority here, but I'm glad we're not splitting the tag team titles up because I hate rematches every week, at least for undisputed tag titles. There's an even greater tag division. What do you have to say to Ahmed Yusuf there, buddy?
His name is Ahmed, you said, right?
Ahmed.
Ahmed. You are the problem. These titles need to be split up as soon as possible. All I heard was wop, 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 like the freaking peanut specials. All I heard was we need to keep these tag titles up. Wop, 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 wop. There's no valid fucking reasons to keep these championships together. I'm over it. I think my entire Raw reactions for the last 6 months, I bring up the tag team championships probably every time. That's how sick of these blue and red straps I am. I'm sick of them. Sick of it.
I feel like I always lead the lamb to slaughter every time because every time I've picked a comment, you've gotten hostile. Oh, that's great. I love it. So, guys, that was the comment of the week. Thank you so much, Ahmed Yusuf, for your comment. And if you guys want to be featured on our segment of Comment of the Week for We Are Wrestling, all you got to do is comment on any of our videos on any of our social medias, including our YouTube channel, to be featured on the Comment of the Week. So thank you again, Ahmed3340, for your comment.
Yeah, thank you for getting my blood pressure up. Thank you.
Oh, shit.
So now, with that being said, let's get into the We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors for the We Are Wrestling podcast episode 99. And this week, we only have 3 of them, so we can fly through these. So, starting things off, WWE Monday Night Raw is set to return to Chicago on March 25th, and CM Punk is set to appear. And there's been rumors that at WrestleMania 40, they want CM Punk to be involved in some way. How should WWE book CM Punk's involvement at WrestleMania?
Honestly, I don't want any kind of involvement from him at Mania because I feel like it's going to take away from the moment. And if some way Seth retains, I'm going to be kind of pissed because I'm just like, what the fuck? This was the whole point of the whole match, was Drew getting put the fuck over in replacement of. Like, it just, I don't know. It's weird because I feel like if they make him the special guest ref or something like that, it's just going to be weird. Like, it's just like they know that he's going to tip the scales. Technically, CM Punk don't like either of these fucking guys, if we're getting real. Like, he doesn't really like either of them, so it really could go either way. But at the same time, it's like, I don't see much benefit from him being involved, you know? So I just, like, there's no real benefit other than just his name and him being at Mania. You know, that's really it.
You know what I could see happening? I could see him being on commentary for their match. I could definitely see something like that.
I forgot about commentary because he is also the best in the world when it comes to commentary too. So yeah,
even on commentary.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I think that he could do that. So yeah, never mind. That could definitely benefit the whole overall quality of the match, especially in terms of television for the at-home viewers.
Yeah, because I feel like with CM Punk's arm injury, I feel like he can't be a special guest referee. I feel like that would be the best position for him, but I think commentary could add a little bit more to this with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. But the only thing I don't want to happen is CM Punk getting involved in this match whatsoever, because I really like how slow they're building up Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, it's a good simmer. We're going to a simmer to boil.
Exactly. So let CM Punk be there when McIntyre wins the World Heavyweight Championship so that eventually when CM Punk does come back, maybe he costs Drew McIntyre the World Heavyweight Championship, and then you could go right back to that clip of Drew McIntyre being a troll, holding the championship up right in CM Punk's face. I feel like just having CM Punk's presence, I think, is enough.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to leave it as that.
Yeah. I can
But
back that.
moving on now to our next We Are Wrestling Weekly news and rumors. Last Friday on SmackDown, Logan Paul and KSI announced that Prime Hydration will be sponsoring WWE PLEs moving forward. So it looks like WWE is going to be taking the UFC approach when it comes to putting sponsors on the mat. What's your thoughts on this?
Fucking brilliant, man. I mean, Logan Paul's a huge fucking draw, and I Prime, like, we fucking know how great Prime is, bro. Like, we know. I think that's a brilliant idea, especially if they are kind of rebranding in a way. I think having the sponsors kind of show up on the little sides of the ring and on the barriers and everything is a great idea, especially moving forward future wise. I think it's just kind of an overall great deal for everyone business-wise, and it's going to make them a lot of money.
Yeah, so there's this picture, and I'm gonna put it up on here.
Yeah, do it up, bro.
Like during editing, I don't have it on me right now, but Ben, I don't know if you've seen the memes going on right now, because obviously with Prime doing this whole sponsorship thing, being on the mat, there's a lot of people that are photoshopping the Prime logo on WWE defining moments, like when Mankind went through the cell.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I've seen it.
Big Prime logo is going to ruin defining moments in wrestling. How do you feel about that?
I don't know, man.
There's people actually really pissed off about this news.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't fucking know.
Only pro wrestling fans, Ben. Only pro wrestling fans.
Literally, they always find something to bitch about. They'll always find something to bitch. I don't know, man.
Man, the NBA, the NFL, they can add whatever logos they want to their turfs and courts, and they're never talking about it. There's never problems, but when it comes to wrestling, God forbid we put a big Prime logo in the middle of the ring, it's the end of the world. I think that this is absolutely fucking brilliant for Logan Paul and KSI's company, Prime. I think that they're doing an incredible job. Like, Prime is becoming, like, they're really competing with Gatorade and Powerade now. Like, they're a legit drink. They're all over the place. And they're even the official sports drink for the UFC, for the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes. I think that they're doing a great job with Prime, and I think that this is a great move for WWE moving forward. And I think it's going to add more arrogance to Logan Paul's heel work, because obviously people don't like that a Prime logo is going to be in the ring. And Logan Paul, he is going to stride with that. Yeah. And he's going to just take the ball and just roll it all the way.
Oh, yeah, man.
So I think that this is just a great move for both WWE and Prime.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to see who else gets their logos in the middle of the ring. Slim Jim is next. Moving on now to our last We Are Wrestling Weekly news and rumors. Sami Zayn is upset about the social media reactions to him winning the gauntlet. Recently, on Booker T's podcast, he stated that he was so literally upset about the online heat that he got from the fans. He's like, man, I thought the fans loved me. And then next thing you know, I see all this stuff. I say, man, you can't listen to the white noise. You got to think about it, how great that match was. And you're going to look back at it one day and say, man, that was some really, really good work that I did. But he still, like I said, was feeling that heat. What's your thoughts on WWE's booking decision to have Sami Zayn face Gunter and not Chad Gable, who is the fan favorite in this match?
You always got to go with the fan favorite as much as you possibly can, especially when you built the whole fucking thing around him in the first place. I mean, the dude has brought it to the limit every single fucking time. He's kind of broken away from the Alpha Academy, so to speak. Like, they kind of made him a solo star for a while now, and they've built him to do this, you know? I mean, the dude's literally on Raw now, and Otis and fucking they're on fucking SmackDown, right? Otis and fucking
No, they're still on Raw, but they haven't really done anything with them.
that's what I'm saying.
Zawa
So like,
and Otis.
yeah, and fucking what's her face?
Maxine.
Maxine, exactly. So they've been kind of like pushing him for it, and the fact that they changed it last second kind of it sours it, you know? Like, it sours it. So it's like, yeah, Sammy, like, the fans do love you, but they don't love you in this position right now. They didn't ask for it, you know? It's like they love to see you win, but just not like this. Not yet. You should have had Gable win it and be the face, and you should have turned Sammy fucking heel finally again. Like, you should have gone that way.
You see, that's the issue with this decision. People I knew this was going to happen because for the last couple of weeks, especially when they announced the gauntlet, I even said that with Sami Zayn, what they're trying to do with Sami Zayn the last couple of months with this whole like sit down interviews with no crowd, they're trying to build him back up as an underdog. But what they don't realize is Chad Gable is that underdog. And that is why I feel like everybody like in the WWE universe, they want Gable over Sami Zayn. Also, Sami has already been a multi-time Intercontinental Champion. Gable has not had that moment yet. And when you have somebody like Gunther, who is on this historical title reign, you want to build a new star.
At a David and Goliath type.
You want to build a new star. And
yeah.
I'm sorry, but Chad Gable is that new star.
He is.
And especially when Chad Gable's making it personal about their last bout that they had, talking about his kid, having his kid breaking down crying when Gunther won the match against him. That's why the fans are so behind Chad Gable. Just like a year ago towards Elimination Chamber, the fans were around Sami Zayn, but unfortunately, WWE, these stupid undisputed tag team championships, they ruined Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
And they've lost so much momentum since then. The fans love Sami Zayn, but what they don't love is that how predictable it was, because Sami Zayn, obviously we knew he was going to win the gauntlet. I knew he was going to win because there's no way Sami Zayn misses a WrestleMania. He's one of their top guys that they put a lot of stock into within the last couple of years with the bloodline stuff. I'm disappointed. Like, it should have been Gable versus Gunther.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But I do feel for Sami Zayn, though. I do feel bad that,
too.
he is getting the reaction that he's getting, but I feel like it's just timing, and timing is everything in wrestling. And right now, it's just not Sami's time.
Mm-hmm.
But up next, we have the Getting Put Over segment, and of course, our main event topic. We'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast episode 99.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Collecting has always had a special place in my heart, going all the way back to when I was a kid. I remember my parents taking me to Toys R Us and waking up on Christmas morning to a bunch of new action figures. I had bins filled with thousands of rare WWE, WCW, ECW, and TNA figures through the years until, unfortunately, I ended up selling my whole childhood without knowing the true value of my collection. 2 years after I made that horrible decision, the pandemic hit, and I realized there was a part of me that felt missing, and that was collecting. My whole life, I've loved collecting wrestling figures, wrestling memorabilia, classic video games, Nickelodeon stuff, sneakers, Funko Pops, and even Angry Birds. As time went by, I decided I wanted to get back into collecting, except this time, document it and rebuild my collection over on Best One Donnie. So if you want to go back into time and relive my nostalgic memories, subscribe now. Man, we got a busy couple weekends ahead of us. Tomorrow, I will be at the big event New York in Long Island. So if you do see me, come say what's up. I will be vlogging. Next weekend is going to be a very busy weekend for We Are Wrestling because on Friday, Blitzkrieg Pro, We Are Wrestling. We're going to be in the house for such a great card. Saturday, South End Community Center, Springfield, Mass. We're going to be a vendor. We're going to be having our own table at the Wrestling Classic 4. So if you want to get the opportunity to meet myself and Ben, we're going to be there. And on Sunday, the 24th, We Are Wrestling Podcast 100. And we got some surprises that you're not going to want to miss. So every week we do this thing called the Getting Put Over segment where every week Ben and I, we alternate and we pick one past, present, or future superstar and we put them over. And obviously last week Ben was absent, so we didn't do the segment. But we are going to be putting over the big red monster, Kane.
Yeah, boy.
And where do you want to start this off?
We can start wherever you want to start it, bro. We're putting over Kane, not Isaac Yankem. So if we want to start in like 96, 97, we can start there.
Yeah, so that's one thing. We're definitely not putting over Isaac Yankem or Fake Diesel. We're definitely not putting over Fake Diesel. No. But man, so Kane's career in WWE started in 1997 at In Your House Bad Blood, the very first Hell in the Cell match,
right?
Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels.
And Paul
Wait,
Bearer
was
was
that?
one that introduced him, right?
Yep, Paul Bearer was teasing that Undertaker's dead brother was alive in the fire. And Kane had a whole backstory behind him, and I feel like that was the first time we ever got that in professional wrestling. Like, there was a whole story behind this monster that we had no idea, like, what he was all about. And then I think the debut was one of the greatest debuts in WWE history. My opinion, probably the best debut in WWE.
Probably one of the most, like, impactful, like really like made some noise without saying a damn word. And that was like, that's one of those debuts that still gets replayed to this day. That is like still to this, like, we hadn't had, other than Undertaker, a real convincing supernatural being of a character that's really convincing since Taker. So to bring in his brother, who is almost this unstoppable fucking force, an immovable wall of a fucking beast that crawled out of the depths of hell, was insane. His evolution over time made it even deeper. And it was just, my God,
definitely
dude.
going to be getting into that. But man, that's the thing.
Brothers.
But that's the thing about Kane, though. That was the very first time that Undertaker in his career showed fear. And I think that's what really pushed Kane to the next level in WWE, because at the time, Undertaker was just not scared of anybody. He was on a great historical run. And I think the way that they did it, having Kane rip the door off the cell, hit him with his own finisher, the Tombstone, and going into Rumble with him burning the casket, and then WrestleMania 14 having that iconic match. My opinion, man, when it comes to Kane, my favorite rivalry has got to be him versus Undertaker, just because
leading
of
up
like through the years.
back in, like, you talk about through the years in general, like it just kind of like
through
the
years,
nonstop
man.
continual story.
Because like it was always a reoccurring event with Kane and Undertaker. Because they always kept it relevant, whether they hated each other or they were the Brothers of Destruction, or Survivor Series 2003 when Undertaker got buried and then we brought back the Dead Man.
Yeah, so
and then
that's
towards
exactly what I wanna
2010
touch
with
on.
Paul Bearer.
That's something I want to touch on. My favorite Kane feud, period, was definitely in the like leading up to fucking WrestleMania 20, because it was different. It wasn't just monster versus monster. It was what Kane thought was a monster of the shell of a man that used to be his brother. Like he said, like that whole thing when he was doing like Undertaker's fucking, I think like his eulogy or something. He was like, "My brother wasn't my brother." He's like, "He wasn't the dead man anymore." He's like, "He became one of you," and like it showed Undertaker like as fucking like a real person, like as like the American badass, a person with a personality, with a voice,
Yep.
not the dead man anymore. And he like that struck my soul because it showed how much the Undertaker really evolved throughout the time and how much space he had put between himself and the dead man character for so many years. And that was the perfect, most poetic and organic way to resurrect the character and really bring alive the saying of, in order to become great again, you got to go back to your roots. And that was the best resurrection of a character, of an old school gimmick that you had ever seen, that I had literal goosebumps watching live as a kid, bro.
You
Because
got to
the
give Bruce
dead man
Pritchard his
made it.
flowers on that one. That was his idea. And especially
Bring
with
the dead
WrestleMania
man back,
20,
yes.
they wanted it to be nostalgia because it was 20 years of WrestleMania, Madison Square Garden, where it all began, bringing back the dead man versus Kane. That was absolutely perfect.
And can we talk about the quality of that match and the shape that Taker got back into? Because he had months off from fucking the fucking Buried
Survivor
Alive
Series,
match. Yeah,
2003.
to fucking Mania 2020. That was months, bro. That's almost a fucking year, almost basically. They gave him time to get in shape, to get ring ready, to grow his hair back out a little bit more. Yeah, that's still like almost
That's
a
still
half
a lot
a
of time,
year.
though.
Yeah, because like actually, that's not 5 months. That's a little bit longer. That's like what, 7 months? Because like you have to admit, like April,
November,
November to April. So that's about 6 months.
That's
About 6
about
months.
nope.
Yeah, about
That's
6
5
months. That's
months
half a year.
because in May is 6 months. How do I know that? Because my birthday's in November.
My birthday's in November too. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So like, yeah, 5 months. All right. Sorry. But still, that's still like an odd amount of time for somebody to be off, you know,
Oh, when you're on the road every day, wrestling for years, and then you get
that
5
must have been
months.
a
Yeah,
blessing.
that's like perfect timing
Blessing.
for you to get in the best shape of your life. Absolutely.
And he got in, dude was fucking yoked when he came back in fucking WrestleMania 20. But like even Kane himself really sold the shock and the like holy, like he was seeing a ghost when he came back.
The
And
first time
it showed
Kane
it in the
showed
match.
fear.
Mm-hmm.
Which
And
that's
why it
crazy.
was so
No,
great.
but that's like, I just realized though, that's like full circle because
Mm-hmm.
97 Undertaker showed fear for the first time. And then going into 2004, Kane showed fear for the very first time.
Yeah,
and
bitch.
I think that,
That's
but
what
I
I'm
will
saying.
say one thing that to me, even though I know we're putting over Kane, I feel like that was one of the decisions that kind of made me lose a lot of momentum with him, was putting Undertaker over both times. Because
See,
obviously he was like Bill as the next big monster in 1998 with
yeah.
Undertaker, and then having Taker beat him at WrestleMania 14. It seemed like Kane kind of lost that momentum then.
See,
And
I
then
was okay.
he takes the mask off, which I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah.
Then we go into WrestleMania 20 when Kane had all this momentum,
See,
and then
that's the
Undertaker
thing,
beat
though.
him. He kind of lost that momentum to me.
See,
He had great feuds and great storylines, but
I think both of those losses didn't hurt him at all, though. I feel like the first loss was warranted because obviously you're gonna need the win eventually, and Taker needed that win.
And then he
WrestleMania
did win
20,
the WWE Championship after that, so yeah.
WrestleMania 20, though, you're looking at a whole different Kane. This is a completely different character and a different version. And Kane had a lot of momentum. He put away Undertaker at Survivor Series, which was fucking phenomenal. That was a beautiful bookend. You got the intertwined things where Undertaker was kind of fucking with Kane a little bit leading up to WrestleMania, and he got the loss and the comeuppance from Survivor Series at Mania. What the big thing that kind of killed Kane's momentum after that match is you should have taken Kane off the shelf for some time as well right after.
Yes.
You should have had him
because
done
what
for
they
a couple
yeah,
months.
because didn't they do the whole Lita and Matt Hardy thing in 2004?
Right after. Exactly.
Yeah, it was
so,
right
like,
after.
You should have.
That was after Undertaker at Mania, right?
Exactly. It was right after Undertaker.
They should have
Mania.
definitely given him time, and I think it was not a Kane losing problem. I think it was a WWE booking decision.
Yeah, and the thing is,
at
like,
that
you should have had him go away for a couple months, and then just said nothing of the situation. Like had him go into a complete
Comes
different
back,
other
wins
feud,
the World Heavyweight
as
Championship
angrier.
against Chris Benoit, not Randy.
Exactly, and just angrier. Like give us an angrier fucking Kane again. And if you wanted to slap the mask back on him again, because they would have done it eventually, you should have done it then. But then again, it would have been too soon. At the same time,
if they gave
just-
him time, I feel like that. Oh my god, there's so many.
yeah, exactly.
what
That
ifs.
was the big mistake. Is like immediately putting him in a different feud immediately after Mania, and then saying nothing is like.
You know what?
kinda
You're
fucked up.
absolutely correct.
You should have given him at least 3 months off and just had him come back in better shape and more pissed off. That's what you should have
I
done.
totally have to agree. And I also want to talk about Kane. Like, I want to ask you, Ben, your
What's up, bud?
favorite Kane look. Because throughout the years, Kane has evolved his look, his attire,
Favorite
and he's just
Kane?
had so many iconic
Oh,
looks.
I don't even need to think about it. I don't even need to think about it. My favorite Kane is 2003 Kane when he was tagging with RVD. He moved the best. He was in the best shape, and he had the best look.
So the mask, when he wore, like, the last
Yes.
mask before he was unmasked.
Yes, precisely that. That was my favorite Kane look because
Respect that.
at that point it was like a mixture of every Kane we've ever had. Personality. He was in probably the best shape of his life when he was that Kane too. Like he
Definitely.
was like built. He moved the best in the ring as that Kane too. He was a high flying big guy on Undertaker fucking WrestleMania 27 level shit. Like he was in like the best ring shape of his career. Like the
And
dude
he had a
was
lot of
moving.
personality too around that time
Exactly.
as well.
But he was still a dominant fucking character that every time you saw him, you didn't know whether to wince or quiver. Like you didn't know. And it was like every time he came out, it could have been funny or it could have been fucking destructive. Or it could have been both. You just did not fucking know, bro. And that was my favorite version look wise of Kane, and probably just my favorite version of Kane in general was like 02, 03.
Yeah, so when it comes to the Big Red Monster Kane, my favorite look has got to be Attitude Era Hardcore Kane 2001. I feel like that's when he looked the most scariest, in my opinion. I just love the short straps that he had at the time. I love the mask. I think the mask in 2001 was on a whole nother level. And Ringside Collectibles, they're doing this like vault figure thing. And one of the most expensive Kane figures is actually the 2001 Hardcore Kane. And they're finally doing a re-release of it like 15 years later. And I can't wait to get that Kane because, man,
he's got fucking
that's my
sink his
favorite
teeth
look.
in that shit. Hell yeah,
You're
dude.
gonna let him breathe, baby. But man, with Kane, I will say one of the worst looks he's ever had was when he brought back the mask in 2011. The Ladybug mask.
See, I don't dig the Ladybug mask, but in 2011, he was also in some really fucking fantastic shape then too. Like Kane
he
got in some
definitely
really good
was.
shape again then too. When he was a part of Team Hell No, he was in some.
Team
fucking
Hell No was some
phenomenal
of the
shape.
funnest stuff. With
And
Kane.
he was in phenomenal.
I'm going to
fucking shape.
Disneyland.
We're going to, yeah, and even in that fucking clip, dude was fucking yoked.
Okay, there's one person we really might have to put over. This might be my next person, Dr. Shelby. I love Dr. Shelby,
I don't know
bro.
who Dr.
I was the
Shelby
biggest
is, but I'll
mark.
do some homework.
Dude, Team Hell No. Watch those segments with Dr. Shelby when Daniel Bryan and Kane had to go to therapy. Some of the funniest fucking shit in Kane's career. Telling you.
Down.
They did like a whole like trust fall thing. And then like, this is when Daniel Bryan and Kane started to form chemistry because they both like disagreed on everything. But then when it came to the trust fall, they both didn't catch the person. And that's when they're like, I think that we're going to be just fine. And then Dr. Shelby, like he reminded me of like Dr. Phil, but like at the same time, like when Kane and Daniel Bryan would argue, like he would just scream at them. He'd be like, just like, hi guys, today's session, we're going to learn about trust fall. But then when they start arguing, he'll be like, enough of this fucking shit. Dude, it's some of the best stuff. I highly recommend watching it. But man,
Hell yeah, dude.
But some of the accomplishments that Kane had throughout his career, he's had a lot of accolades, man. He won the WWE Championship. He was a former ECW champion, also a one-time Intercontinental champion, Hardcore champion, WCW Tag Team champions with The Undertaker. Also a two-time WWE Tag Team champion, one time with The Big Show, one time with Daniel Bryan. 2010 Money in the Bank. 9-time World Tag Team Champion, 2 times with Mankind, 2 times with X-Pac, 2 times with The Undertaker, 1 time with Hurricane, 1 time with Rob Van Dam, 1 time with The Big Show. Also, he was a 24/7 champion during the time when he was a mayor and a Hall of Famer class of 2021.
That's a lot of fucking accolades, man. Kane really has done it fucking all, dude. And he just, I feel like he isn't appreciated a lot nowadays, obviously, with, certain political choices, etc. But we don't do politics here. We're only here
We're
for the
putting
wrestling,
over the wrestler.
And I feel like he doesn't get a lot of credit nowadays. And Kane is definitely one of the best to do it, as one of the original big guys that we come to know and love, the one that really helped put moving big guys on the map, just like The Undertaker.
I totally have to agree with you. And the last thing I definitely want to ask you is your favorite Kane match. While you think about that, I'm going to let the Maniacs know mine.
Okay.
It's got to be Kane versus Shane O'Mac, Survivor Series 2003 ambulance match. And my first ever wrestling live event that I went to, I got to watch Kane versus Shane in a steel cage.
That's pretty fucking dope.
God, that was such a good feud, Shane and Kane. I loved when Kane took the mask off. That was such a great run. Until they ruined it with Gene Snitsky and frickin' Lita and all that crap.
Facts.
Wasn't my fault.
I will definitely have to say Kane versus Triple H at fucking Judgment Day 2001 was a very good match.
Ooh.
That was a brutal one. I always have to I always run back to fucking WrestleMania 20. That was another one. But all right, so favorite off Kane match, Triple H versus fucking Kane 2001 Judgment Day. Favorite Kane fucking involvement match, Survivor Series 05, just because of the SmackDown versus Raw shit where it was choke slams fucking everywhere, and I just loved how they booked Kane. But I think in terms of that
was babyface Kane too.
Yeah, so I would have to say WrestleMania 20, Triple H at Judgment Day 01, and fucking the build up and the match of Survivor Series 2005. Team Raw.
Absolutely love that, man. But guys, this week we put over the Big Red Monster Kane. We might have to do a part 2 eventually with Kane because there's a lot of things that we didn't talk about throughout his career.
Maniacs, let us know actually down below if you actually want to see full-on episodes or extra episodes of us talking about soul people and putting over their entire careers like we used to do. Because I would love to do that again.
Oh, I'd love to do extras, man. I love those early episodes, and I know we're going to be reflecting. We're going to be having tears of joy next week on 100. But this week, we put over the Big Red Monster Kane. Next week, it will be Ben's turn. Who are we putting over?
Next week, we're going to put over Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega for We Are Wrestling 100.
Might as well.
Love it. So, with that being said, let's dive into the main event topic for the We Are Wrestling podcast episode 99. And there's rumors speculating that Brock Lesnar could return to WWE very soon. Earlier this week, his profile was back up on WWE.com. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE is making moves to bring back Brock Lesnar. Do you think Brock Lesnar should come back to WWE right now?
I mean, isn't it a little soon? Ain't it a little soon? Again, I wasn't fucking there. I can't assume anything. I don't know. I feel like I feel like if they bring him back right now, WWE and TKO is just going to be known as Indian giving ass pricks because they did Rock and Roman. They scrapped that shit. Now they're doing Rock's out the company. Now they're potentially scrapping that shit. So it's just you kind of got to know when to do this, and I feel like a lot of this is just happening back to back to back to back to back, and it's you're not standing by anything anymore. So it's that gives me a little bit of uncertainty for the future. Having Brock back with Gunther would obviously be a fucking match made in heaven. That was supposed to be the WrestleMania plan.
Originally.
I could see that happening after the match. Like, I could see if Brock's coming back, he could probably attack Gunther after the match and leading up to a feud after post-Mania. So
Brock Lesnar shows up at Mania. I kind of like that.
yeah. And fucking right after his he could probably cost Gunther his title because he wasn't in the match. So now he could probably cost Gunther
would
the
be
title.
a great way to build the feud and have him have a couple matches, have the final one be at SummerSlam in like a steel cage or something.
Boom. There you go. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, especially if he was potentially involved. I don't know how it's going to be a good look on the company, but if they're sure that he wasn't involved, they want to bring him back, you know, the company's willing to risk that. So I don't know how I feel about it yet. I love Brock Lesnar as a wrestler. I love the Brock that we got before he left, you know, and he ended on a very good note. So I don't know. I would love to see a continuation of the story, but I want to make sure that everybody's hands are clean first. And that is the most important thing above anything, is that everybody is in agreement everywhere before anything can go forward.
Yeah, especially with how serious these allegations are.
They are.
This whole lawsuit thing going on. And it does seem like Brock Lesnar wasn't involved with it, which is why I think WWE, they brought the profile back and more stuff has come out since. But I do agree, like, I think it's a little too soon right now for him to come back. But I do know the WWE universe, it does seem like from social media, a lot of people do want to see Lesnar come back. And I think getting him involved at WrestleMania 40 would probably be the best way to bring him back in front of that big crowd. Because I think right now we're a little like deep into WrestleMania 40. We can't just throw him into a match with somebody. We can't.
Because, bro, like, what if he fucked Gunther out of the title, got Sammy to pin him, and then fucks Sammy, grabs that title, and now Gunther's fighting Brock for the title? Because that's an easy way to fucking fix it right there. And Gunther wouldn't even have to win. So it's an easy way to fix it.
There's ways that they could do it. So, I think a Gunther versus Brock Lesnar feud after WrestleMania would be perfect.
And it'd be a big holy shit moment that Brock's back in the middle of the fucking ring at Mania. So yeah, I think that would be that is an XL pop right there. So yeah, it's going to be big, bro.
And I think that's the perfect way to end episode 99 before we get into 3 digits for this podcast.
bet, brother.
All right, but guys, man, what an episode for the We Are Wrestling podcast, episode 99. We gave you guys all the scoop, and we kept all you guys in the loop, and we got lots of awesome things coming up, so definitely stay tuned. Let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on all the topics that we covered this week. Maybe Ben will pick a comment that will piss me off for We Are Wrestling 100. If you guys enjoyed this week's episode, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already over on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. We got lots of vlogs coming out pretty soon. We're doing live streams, we're doing reactions, we're doing predictions, hot takes, old school versus new school. All the good shit is over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. Links down in the description below. You can follow Ben and I over on our social medias and other YouTube pages. I just hit 1,000 subscribers. Let's fucking go! And Ben, he is still has more subscribers than We Are Wrestling and the Best One Donnie channel combined. But go follow us and subscribe over to all of our other stuff down below. And of course, all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. Remember, next week, Friday, Blitzkrieg Pro. Saturday, Wrestling Classic 4. Sunday, We Are Wrestling Podcast 100. To all the Maniacs, we are taking over. Peace.
Yeah.